أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول النبي الكريم أما بعد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Okay, so as you can see on the screen, today's topic is about the first food that we will be beginning. So we finished before in general the basics about the importance of eating healthy foods, and we started the book Medicine of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So today I'll be picking up from now onwards, from this session onwards, we'll be picking up one topic at a time, and one food item at a time, and doing it in detail, inshallah. So today will be the topic of eggs. If you can just mute your microphone so that we don't have any disturbances in the background. Okay, and just before we begin, again, when we're doing these foods, I'm picking up just a few basics because there are a lot of there's a huge list in the book which is given, but I'm just picking up a few important subjects which we deal with on a daily basis, like basic things like milk, eggs, bread, something which people have on a daily basis, so that at least what we're eating is nutritious, even if one cannot have access to all the different varieties of food that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. At least what we're having should be had in the correct way and of good quality. And once we know the benefits of certain types of food, we will have the motivation. Even if we don't like them, we'll have the motivation to take them into our diets. So the first one that we're going to begin with is eggs. Since it's a short topic, I thought I'll start with this one first. And again, the importance of knowing why we should be eating healthy foods, because it's about what you eat, that's what you become. Whatever you're putting in, that's what your body is going to grow into. So if we are putting in junk food in our body, automatically you're going to see the consequences of it, not just in your weight, in your appearance, but in your health as you grow older and older. And if you just think about the blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, like eyesight, we see that as we grow older, we know that eyesight get weaker, right? Like some people get glasses at a young age, some people get it later, some people have it because of lack of nutrition in their diet. And that's why when we all grew up knowing vitamin A is essential for the eyes, and why we should be eating foods that are rich in carotenes so that we can have good eyesight. So just like that, there are so many other issues in our body that if we neglect, automatically it ends up having a toll on our health, if not now, somewhere down the line. Like, for example, joint pains or weaknesses or different types of diseases that can come, like diabetes and hypertension. All of these, they don't come all of a sudden. They come due to complete like when somebody is completely lacking in their nutrition or in the way of their lifestyle or just in their diet. That's when it's like you get so much of time to trying to repair your body, and when you don't do that, that's when everything starts rolling in one by one. And we might think that, oh, this won't happen to me, but it's better to be cautious and take prevention rather than going for the treatments and the cure. So starting with that, we'll speak about eggs today, inshallah. This is one food item which, if you inculcate in your diet every single day, you don't have to worry about eating anything else if you are not the type of person who likes to indulge in different types of food or going out of your way to prepare healthy meals. So this is one food item that is literally like a fuel house. It's like it has everything in just a small little piece of shell. It has all the possible nutrients which you may not even get in different types. So like, for example, if a person is not fond of eating vegetables, where you get your different minerals and vitamins and stuff like that. So if you are a type of person that is not very good with eating your veggies, or if you feel that you're lacking in certain types of nutrients in your body, you have deficiency of vitamin D, this is the food. You have deficiency of vitamin A, this is the food. You have deficiency of any kind of mineral, this is the food. The best quality protein is in eggs. And if you look at the screen, I'll just go through it briefly, and then we will begin with the details. So the first thing is cognition. Choline and lutein, these are the two important nutrients that are tied to early cognitive development and academic performance. So extremely important for young growing kids that you inculcate eggs in their diet every single day. And we will speak about that in detail, inshallah, in the next few minutes. Then again, we know that protein is something that is extremely essential for building muscles, for building body mass. So the highest quality protein that you can get is in the egg. So it helps, and that's why you see athletes or boxers and people who are who require a lot of physical strength. They are the ones who have raw eggs in glasses, and they literally drink them, and they do this to build body muscle mass. So that itself, we see this, why people do it, because of the high quality protein that is in it, and also of course the yolk that contains the essential nutrients. My baby just woke up, so I might have to pause it in between. Okay, if there's a long pause, you can just pause the recording. Then the next one is cardiometabolic health. There's a lot more coming. Weight management, again, if you see, it's a high quality protein, and that's why it reduces hunger. It's not that if you eat eggs you lose weight. The connection is that because it's a good quality protein, it satisfies your hunger, and so you won't feel more hungry, and that is how it facilitates weight loss. And that's how it even helps maintain your weight. If you are on a dry diet, then again, this is something that you need to inculcate so that you don't keep eating. So if you have, like, say you have 2 eggs, then you're already satisfied and you don't want to eat more. The nutrients in eggs, it contains 6 grams of high quality protein, and then it has 13 essential vitamins and minerals, and including vitamin D, which people are very deficient in. It's not just the sunlight that you get your vitamin D from. It's also from certain types of food. And the other food along with eggs is raw butter. If you have pure raw butter, that's again a rich source of vitamin D. And then regarding egg allergies, there's a huge theory that's there. So I have it in my notes. So when we come across it, inshallah, we will do that in detail. Just a minute. I'm going to just keep this. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my notes, and I'm going to keep this on the screen for now. Okay, so I'm just going to read this first page from my notes, and then we will discuss it in detail. So eggs contain high quality proteins, fats, vitamins, and minerals. And according to a new research, you can also add antioxidant properties to the list. And this is something that, people keep having green teas for antioxidant properties. People have blueberries, people have all these different types of food that are rich in antioxidants. So now it's been researched that even eggs are rich in this antioxidant property. The antioxidant properties are due to the presence of 2 amino acids, which is tryptophan and tyrosine. And I'm not going to go into too much details, but just in brief, 2 raw eggs, they contain nearly twice as many antioxidant properties as an apple. So if you have 2 raw egg yolks, and how do you have them? I'm going to speak about that in detail towards the end. Then again, they're rich in carotenoids, and that is extremely essential for the sight, for your good eyesight, and also it's a prevention against macular degeneration. That's one of the most important causes of blindness. So again, as you grow old, and blindness doesn't necessarily mean going completely blind, but even just, as you age, your sight deteriorates. So if you really want healthy eyesight, this is something that you can inculcate into your diet. The next one, the research also illustrates how destructive cooking is. And the antioxidant properties were reduced by about 50% when the eggs were fried or boiled, followed by microwaving, which has resulted in even more reduction in the antioxidant properties. Now, the myth about, let me just share this on the screen, just a second. I need to go back and put this up on the screen. So can you just pause the recording so that I can put my baby outside in the other room and come for the interruption? Okay, so now this myth, which was always existing about eggs not being healthy for those with cholesterol and creating cholesterol problems. The myth is that if you eat a lot of eggs, people used to think that it's going to increase my cholesterol, and that's why people abandoned the yolk and they would just consume the white part of the egg. And as a result, you're getting the protein, which is in the white, but then you're missing out on the yolk, which is like a nutritious powerhouse of so many other nutrients. So removing the egg yolks is completely, it's like you're literally, it's as good as depriving yourself of something extremely beneficial. And why is that a myth? So if you see here, there's an explanation by Dr. Mercola, and he has this website where he has details about many other food items. So if you're interested, you can even go through this website. The idea that eggs as a source of saturated fats are unhealthy and promote heart disease is a complete myth. While it's true that fats from animal sources contain cholesterol, this is not necessarily something that will harm you. On the contrary, the evidence clearly shows that eggs are one of the most healthful foods that you can have and can actually help prevent diseases, including heart disease. Now, if you think about it, if you have the egg in the correct way, then it's not going to be unhealthy for you. Whereas if you cook it to like at a very high temperature, that's when it gets oxidized, and that's the cholesterol that becomes unhealthy for you. And that's when you eat too much of fried eggs or too much of when you scramble your egg or you fry it, that's when you're oxidizing. And that's why that cholesterol, that whole thing about the yolk not being healthy, that's because people didn't cook it in the right way. Whereas if you have it in the correct way, which inshallah I will speak in the end about how do we have the eggs in the correct way in order to have complete benefit from it the most, then you will not have any of these issues. And I think he explains, he's mentioned there, although egg yolks are relatively high in cholesterol, numerous studies have confirmed that eggs have virtually nothing to do with raising your cholesterol. And they've also done a research where they showed that when they chose a group of healthy individuals, and when they make them eat eggs every day, and it did not produce any negative effect on their endothelial function. So there was no cardiac risk to those, or there was no increase in cholesterol when they did this experiment of having the egg yolks on a daily basis. So then he goes on to say a number of people have cholesterol levels that are too low. While eating egg yolks is a great idea for a number of reasons, it will not increase your cholesterol level. So even if you have low cholesterol, if you're eating egg yolks, it's not going to increase your cholesterol in any way. So this whole myth about avoiding the yellow part, because see, if you think about it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would never ever create a food that would be harmful for you, right? Unless you're having it in the wrong way, or unless you're having too much of it. Follow the Sunnah and have everything moderately in the correct amount and proportions, you're not going to harm yourself. So similarly, when we're having, if Allah has created the yolk and the white together, there's a reason why Allah put that combination. We should just have it the way it is. The next page is about, okay, this we will do this later about the antioxidant property. The research also illustrates just how destructive cooking is. The antioxidant properties will reduce. Okay, this is just repeat. I already did this. Okay, now regarding cooking the eggs, if we want to benefit the most from eggs, let me go back to the page. I don't have it on the screen right now. Okay, so let me just go with what's on the screen, and then we can go to the next part. So how do we choose our eggs? How do we know which egg is good, which egg is not good? How do we, when we go to the store, which egg do I pick up? So in short, if you have a person or a local farmer or a farm close by, or anybody that you know who raises chickens and has eggs, that's the best place from where you can buy the eggs. Because once you know the source from where eggs are coming, only then can you have them raw. If you are going to go to the store and break an egg and eat it, obviously you're putting yourself at a huge risk of salmonella infection, because it's a animal product. And it's usually, we cook all animal products, right? Like even milk, I think in most places they boil it. Again, if we don't have it pure, you're already depriving yourself of the nutrients by putting heat on these food items. So destroying the enzymes, you're destroying the antioxidant properties by heating or boiling your milk, or by just overcooking your eggs. So we'll go in order. The main thing, it has to be free range, and it has to be pastured eggs. meaning the chickens have to be raised on pastures, not fed the GMO grains. And like, it's just like how when a breastfeeding mother is, she's supposed to not have certain types of medications while she's breastfeeding, or she's supposed to not have certain types of foods while she's breastfeeding because it affects the baby. Just like that, whatever the child whatever the chicken sorry whatever the chicken is eating is going to affect the eggs, that the quality of the eggs that the chicken produces. So if you know a trustworthy farmer or anybody who's raising chickens, or best would be just to raise your own. So if you know of somebody who's raising chickens in the right way and giving them the right kind of food, and then you know that the quality of the egg is going to be good, and you know that they're not all in a cage where there is a huge chance of salmonella infection, because that can be deadly. You can even be hospitalized if you have your eggs raw without cooking them, if you don't know the source from where your eggs are coming. So this does not mean you go to the store, buy eggs and break them in your glass and have them. It doesn't mean that. What it means is, if you know that you're a farmer, you know that the source is pure and clean, and that you can trace back, like, and you can just once go take a look at the farm, see that and of course, if you're living in the West, they are very careful about this. I don't know about back home how the situation is. Let me just 1 second, I lost my screen. Okay, so the key word is pastured eggs, and this does not mean pasteurized eggs, because in the West, I think they have come up with pasteurized eggs, which means that they've pasteurized the eggs. They've put them at a certain temperature and cooled them down, and then put them in the boxes. So it's not pasteurized. What I'm saying is pastured eggs, meaning the hens are raised on green pastures, and they're free range, meaning they're not caged. They're free to move around, pick from the grass, eat from the insects, like a natural diet for the hens. Now, this does not mean that if you eat an egg from the store, it's not as nutritious. It doesn't mean that. What it means is that you will have better nutrition and more quality, good quality eggs if the hens are fed good types of food. An egg is considered organic if the chicken was only fed organic food, which means it will not have accumulated high levels of pesticides from the grains. And this is mostly, if you see the conventional eggs which are in the store, they're mostly fed GM corn. And this is loaded with pesticides. So if this is what is fed to the chickens, then automatically you're going to have that in your eggs. And also the people who consume that chicken are also putting that in themselves. So that's the meaning of organic, meaning you're trying to keep yourself away from the food that is loaded with pesticides. Additionally, testing has confirmed that true free-range eggs are far more nutritious than commercially raised eggs. And then this is a reference. I'm not going too much into the reference of it. Okay, the other interesting point that he mentions is about whether you should refrigerate your eggs or not. Now, again, only if you know the source, that's when you know that, okay, the chicken has laid eggs on this day and you get the eggs. You don't need to refrigerate them immediately. If you know you're going to consume your eggs within 10 days, you can just leave them out. But if you feel that you need to keep them for a longer period of time, then I think they stay for about 35 to 40 days in the refrigerator. But outside, they can stay for 7 to 10 days. Now, the key point, and that is how to eat your eggs for maximum benefits. I'm going to post that on the screen. So let me just go back and change the. Just a minute. I'm going to post the next few pages and then we'll continue. Okay, I think I just have 9 screenshots at a time. So. Okay, so how to eat your eggs for maximum health benefits. Now, he starts by saying quite a few people are allergic to eggs, but I believe this is because they are cooked. So when you heat the egg, the protein changes its chemical shape, and this type of distortion can easily lead to allergies. When consumed in their raw state, the incidence of egg allergy virtually disappears. This distortion may further be magnified depending on the manner in which it is cooked. Microwaves, heat, food by causing water molecules in it to resonate at very high frequencies and eventually turn to steam, which heats your food. But it also changes your food's chemical structure in ways that regular cooking does not. So what he's trying to say is that microwaving your eggs is like the worst in any food, actually, not just eggs, but microwaving is the worst way you can cook your food because it's a different form of cooking. It's not your regular form of cooking. And then he goes on to say that it's my belief that eating eggs raw helps preserve many of the highly perishable nutrients, and the results in the featured study confirms this, as raw egg yolk lost about half of its antioxidant potential when boiled, fried, or worse, microwaved. The most of the nutrition in an egg is in the yolk, not in the white, which is merely a protein and may have a texture problem when eating them raw. The yolk, on the other hand, is loaded with nutrients like bioflavonoids, brain fats like phosphatidylcholine, powerful antioxidants, and sulfur. And then he says that he has four raw egg yolks almost every day, and he keeps the whites away because he feels that he doesn't need that extra load of protein. But there is something that I read while doing my own research on eggs, that if you're eating your eggs raw, and if you've just started it, they recommend that you just have the yolks and go slow on with the whites. Now, I haven't looked into this in detail, but let me see if I have it on the screen right now. But there is a study. Okay, I haven't posted this on the screen. Okay, so there is a study about, in the white part of the egg, there is something called avidin. And this avidin combines with the biotin in your egg yolk. So this is something important. If you have decided that you're going to eat your eggs raw, and if you feel that you are not deficient in biotin, which is, I think, vitamin B7. So if you're not deficient in biotin and you have your biotin supplements, you're getting your biotin from other sources, and you don't have any kind of deficiency regarding biotin, then you can have the whole egg. Just break it in your glass, mix it up in a smoothie, and have it. That's one way. But if you feel that your child is a picky eater, or you yourself are a picky eater and you don't have enough of biotin, or you are deficient in biotin, then they say it's better to avoid the white of the egg and just have the yolks, because that avidin in the white will combine with the biotin in the yellow, and that can cause biotin deficiency in those who eat raw eggs for a long period of time. But otherwise, if you're completely healthy, then it's completely fine to have it raw. And I think I grew up, when we grew up, I remember having friends in school who used to tell me that their moms would give them raw eggs in a glass to drink before they would come. And at that time it was like, I never thought about it in detail, but then I realized that even in today's time, the athletes, the people who have physically demanding jobs, people have eggs raw, and nothing happens to them. And yes, there is a risk of salmonella infection, and that's what the screen over here is about. The CDC and other public health organizations advise you to thoroughly cook your eggs to lower your risk of salmonella. But as long as they're pastured and organic, eating your eggs raw is actually the best in terms of your health. And the salmonella risk is primarily heightened when the hens are raised in unsanitary conditions, which is extremely rare for small farms. So if you know that you have a local farmer, and you know that he's, you've seen the cleanliness, you've seen the way they raise their hens, then there's no risk of this. And even when I started initially, I think since 2 years, we've been having raw eggs, and Alhamdulillah, by the mercy of Allah, nothing has happened, which means that and there is a study that says that I think 1 in 30,000 eggs that is affected with salmonella. But again, it's at your own risk if you want to try it. The best, and that's why I'm giving you the next best option. So the first option would be having them raw. And how do you have them raw? It would be, this is what we do. We make a smoothie, like you put your berries, your milk, whatever else you want, a banana, and then you just break the egg and you just blend it in a blender and drink it. It's just like, it actually makes the milk more thick, like a smoothie. Even if you want to start off with young kids, like say they're 3 or 4 years old, just take plain raw milk in a blender, break an egg in it, just swallow it up and give it to your kids without adding any sugar or honey or anything. Because if your child is used to drinking plain milk without any chocolate powder and stuff like that, then just let them go on with the plain milk. Just add an egg in it, and that will make the milk even more tasty for them. Like, there's absolutely no smell. And if you feel that you are getting smell, you can just put in a straw and use those, there are glass jars with lids, and a straw. I can post the picture if you want in the end. In the Q&A, you can ask me questions about this. So I can post the picture of what type of jar you can use if you want to use this for your kids. You can just take your milk, break an egg in it, swirl it up in a blender, put it in the glass jar, and give it to them to drink with a straw. And there's no smell, there's no taste, there's absolutely no flavor. It's just like it just thickens your milk into a thick smoothie. And if you don't want to have them raw, and if you feel like no, you can't do this, you can't tolerate it, the best would be to poach your eggs. Poach. I'll put a picture on the screen towards the end. Just in the Q&A, just remind me about poached eggs. For those who don't know, I can put a picture. The next best would be to have them very softly boiled, which is the yolk should still remain runny. And I think most people don't like it this way. So then the next best option would be that you break the egg in the pan with a little bit of butter or whatever, oil or whatever you're using. So you break the egg and you let the white bottom cook, and you keep the yellow a little bit raw and runny. That's called sunny side up. That's the next best way. And then comes the next, which is like, if you really want to scramble them, it's not that if you scramble your egg, the egg is dyed and you're getting nothing from it. You might still get a lot of nutrients from it, but the best would be like keep it on the gas stove as little as possible. Like you break the egg, just swirl it up a little bit, and immediately put it in your plate, so that it's not, the lesser it's exposed to the heat, the more nutrients you're preserving in that food. Any type of food, the lesser you heat it, the more you're preserving its nutrients. Okay, I'm like handling 2 screens at a time, so let me just see what else is here. Okay, I'm going back to my notes because I'm looking for something which is not here. The yolk is arguably the healthiest part of the whole egg, as it contains, now, the fat soluble vitamins that we always learned in school, vitamin A, D, E, and K. So this egg yolk contains all of these. It contains vitamin A, it contains vitamin D, it contains vitamin E, K, as well as B12. Again, people who are vegetarians and who don't eat a lot of meat, they are lacking in B12. So again, if you feel you don't eat a lot of non-veg, or if you're a vegan, or if you don't want to consume a lot of meat, then B12, your source of B12 is your egg yolk. Omega-3 fats, antioxidants, folic acid, and also carotenoids. Eggs also help reduce your appetite, so you might eat lesser. In fact, one study found that you can consume 2 eggs a day, 6 days a week, and be healthier for it. Blood pressure and type 2 diabetes are 2 conditions that benefit from egg consumption, meaning the whole egg. Now let's see what's the next part. Okay, this we already covered up. Okay, there is also a good amount of carotenoid content, which is where the yellow color comes from. The most important being the antioxidants. Okay, so lutein and the other one, which lower the inflammation and protect your eye health. Okay, so here again, I forgot to mention that when you break your egg, one of the ways in which you can find out whether your egg is nutritious or not, I mean, whether you're not nutritious, but whether your hen who laid the egg has been fed good quality, grass-fed hens. So if you want to know that, you look at the color of the yolk. If you see that the yolk is bright orange, it means this is a good quality, it's a high quality egg. If you feel it's pale yellow, that means it's just a regular conventional egg. So if you want to check a farmer, you go to different farms, you want to choose from which farm do I get my eggs, get their eggs and keep breaking. Obviously all are not going to be the same, but if you see that, okay, this person from whom I buy my eggs, the yolk is more orange in color, bright orange in color, that means your egg is highly nutritious. That means the chickens or the hens have been given the right kind of food. And if you feel like it's pale yellow, that means they're whatever corn fed or GMO fed hens. If you are living in the West, just for those in case somebody has access to this, there is a egg brand called Vital Farms. I've noticed that their it's a private farm, but they do sell their eggs on a conventional basis in the stores, in the big stores here. So if you have access to these eggs, they're very easily available in the store. It's called organic pasture raised, and the company is Vital Farms. So I've noticed that most of their yolks are like bright yellow, and they're raised in, you know, a very humane way. They're grass fed, they're allowed to move out in the pastures. So that's one option that you have if you're looking for, if you're living in the West. The next one, again, you know, we know that our hair is made of keratin, right? So if you have a lot of hair loss, and if you feel like you want your hair to grow back faster, then again, this protein in the egg is extremely beneficial for you to have, just to grow, just for your body to grow healthy muscles, hair, skin, nails. All of this depends on the quality of protein that you take in your diet. The white is largely protein, one of the most important nutrients, oftentimes filling in for the meats that vegetarians don't eat. Eggs also help reduce your appetite. So you might, okay, this is again a repetition. For people with type 2 diabetes, the study determined that you can consume 2 eggs a day. Okay, that's also, we've done that. Then again, there's a page about blood pressure. If you want me to do the details of it, I can do that towards the end in the Q&A. I'm just seeing if I'm missing out on something. Researchers reported that when eggs are baked for 40 minutes, they can lose as much as 61% of their vitamin D content, compared to up to 18% when they're boiled or fried for a shorter period of time. The retention of vitamin D compounds in eggs and margarine during heat treatment in an oven for 40 minutes at normal cooking temperature showed retention. We don't need to know these details, so I'm not going to go into too much details. Let me see what else is there. Okay, now I'm going to change the screen and put something else just for those who have a cholesterol issue. I'm putting this so that you can store this picture. Okay, if you look at the screen, how about half-boiled? Yes, half-boiled is one of the best methods. If not raw, then half-boiled is one of the best methods that you can, that's the next best option, poached or then half-boiled. Okay, we'll do the Q&A later. Let me just go back to the screen. So now those of you who want to convince yourself that you can have the yellow, you can store this page. And if you think about it, saturated fats, right? We've always been told that, oh, avoid butter, avoid ghee, avoid eggs, avoid the yolk. Why? Because it has saturated fat, or it has this fat. But it's a myth that fats are unhealthy for you, because the truth is you need these fats in your body for certain types of functions in your body, or else you're going to be depriving yourself. So when they say that these things are bad, for example, now ghee is coming back as clarified butter, but initially, like, there was a phase in between where people said that oh, you have to avoid ghee because it causes high cholesterol, it increases your triglycerides or whatever. But that is because the ghee that you're eating may have been processed, or not the pure ghee. It may be adulterated, it may be not the right way of consuming it. Similarly, it goes for eggs. If you're not doing them in the right way, of course you're going to cause damage to your body. Even butter, or even milk. Like, if you're going to drink pasteurized milk every day thinking it's healthy for you, you're going to cause a lot of damage to your body. And that's why it's extremely important that you study that the food that you're eating, am I eating it in its pure form? Because you might think, oh, I heard eggs are healthy, so I'm going to have a lot of eggs. And I heard milk is healthy, so I'm going to have a lot of milk. But if you think that milk is the real milk that you're drinking, and you go on consuming it without knowing what's in the food that you're eating, you're going to cause a lot of damage to your body. So that's why always look at the source of your food, from where it's coming. Now, regarding healthy fats in your body, cholesterol has been demonized since the early 1950s, following the popularization of Ansel Keys and whatever, the PhD's flawed research. But cholesterol has many health benefits. It plays a key role in regulating protein pathways involved in cell signaling and may also regulate other cellular processes. So basically, you require this good quality fat for your cellular function. It's already known that cholesterol plays a critical role within your cell membranes, but research suggests cholesterol also interacts with proteins inside your cells, adding even more importance. Your body is composed of trillions of cells that need to interact with each other, and for this, you require this healthy fat. Cholesterol is one of the molecules that allows for these interactions to take place. For example, cholesterol is the precursor to bile acids. So without sufficient amounts of cholesterol, your digestive system can adversely be affected. It also plays an essential role in your brain, which contains about 25% of cholesterol in your body. It is critical for the synapse formation, the connections between your neurons, which allow you to think, learn new things, and form memories. And that's why in the beginning, I mentioned about cognitive function, that eggs are important for your cognitive function. That's why it's important for young kids, like the growing kids. It's extreme, especially the age between 2, 3, 4, 5, or just maybe since 6 months onwards, or when you're already starting off solid food with your kids. It's extremely important that you put this in their diet. Even if you don't like them, put it in your kids' diet, because this is extremely important for your brain to develop with this healthy fat. Then I mentioned before that eating cholesterol-rich foods does not lead to high cholesterol unless you're eating them in the wrong way. Then I already covered this up, so you can just store the screenshot if you need to. By looking at the color of the egg yolk, you can come to know whether the eggs are high quality or not. Okay, here's the screen of, if you want, you can store it. If you look at the fourth line there, remember that eggs are rich in dietary cholesterol, and heating your eggs can lead to an increase in oxidized cholesterol levels in your blood. This is what causes the hardening of the arteries and increases your risk of heart disease. So all this while you might be eating eggs in the wrong way, and that's why we end up risking ourselves. But if you do it in the right way, then you're not at the risk of having high cholesterol. Then there's the whole explanation of why that happens, so you can read that on the screen. Poaching or soft boiling are the ideal methods for cooking eggs, but the optimal method is not to cook them at all. But again, be careful from where you're getting your eggs, because you don't want to put yourself at the risk of salmonella infection. Okay, the next page is about raw butter, but that's not our topic for today, so we can ignore that. Okay, so that's it for now. So this is, let me check if I have anything more in my notes, and then we can start off with the Q&A. Oh yes, I forgot to post the main page from where we're doing it. So let me put that on the screen. Okay, there is not much in this book about eggs. There's just this one page that's there, so I'm putting that on the screen. This is the book, The Medicine of the Prophet ﷺ by Ibn al-Jawzi. So I'm going to read this paragraph. What time to take eggs? You can take them anytime. You can have them as breakfast. If you're starving during lunch and you want to have, there's nothing in your house and you're starving and you don't know what to eat, so instead of heading towards eating something which is not very nutritious, just take 2 eggs. The best ideal way of making your eggs is this. Take a glass of, you have these frozen berries. I'm just giving you the easiest option. So if you have frozen berries or just any frozen type of fruit in your refrigerator or in your freezer, just take out a few, like 5 strawberries. This is like, you want to make 1 glass or 1 healthy glass for yourself. 5 strawberries, put in some milk, lots of honey or maple syrup, or good quality maple syrup or good quality honey, raw honey, not the processed pasteurized kind of stuff. Any kind of sweetener which you feel is healthy for you, or even jaggery if you want, or dates. You can just combine dates for adding the sweetness. So milk, strawberries, dates, and just break an egg in it. Just blend it in a blender and drink it. You will not notice any smell. You won't have any taste. You like this. It's like it just makes your drink more healthy and more a smooth, thick texture. Then you can also put in avocado, a banana, an egg, and milk. That's it. and you can have a nice, delicious, healthy drink. You can also add in, you can put in bananas just to mask the, the, if you feel like you're going to get the smell, you can just add in a huge banana and that does the job. The other options would be, if you have still not cut down on sugar and you're not intending to, then of course if you make your drink sweet, you're not going to have any taste at all. But really the best way is just putting it in a smoothie, just making a, like, even if you, and if I'm going to do a class on kefir, like, the best drink you can ever have, or the best type of food you can ever have, is this. That is, you have your kefir drink. Instead of milk, you use your kefir drink. You put in whatever type of berries, fruits you want. With bananas, you put in a bunch of spinach, you put in an avocado if you want. It's like really heavy, so you can make this in bulk and just keep it in your fridge and keep pouring it out and drink it as a whole meal, because you're literally inculcating all of these um, nutrition in your body. All right, so I'm just going to finish off with this page and then we'll do the Q&A. I just got a message. Actually, my baby is with my mother-in-law in the other room, so I'm just going to text her that I'm coming in a few minutes. Okay, I'm not reading everything from it. Egg yolk relieves the pain, polishes the throat and the trachea, helps the throat, relieves coughing and ulcers of the lung, liver, and the prostate. It also eliminates coarseness, especially when blended with the grease of sweet almonds. It also matures and softens whatever is in the chest and softens the roughness of the throat. If you see the word Qanun here, the author of Qanun mentioned eggs in the medicines and remedies of the heart. Qanun over here, as I mentioned before, refers to Canon of Medicine by Ibn Sina. I think the name in English is known as Avicenna, but the Arabic original is Ibn Sina, who wrote the Canon of Medicine. So he also said that its yolk has a strong effect in strengthening the heart. Egg yolk has 3 beneficial uses. It turns into blood quickly. It does not produce excessive wastes. And the blood that it produces is light and similar to the blood that feeds the heart. Further, the egg yolk is the most adequate substance against the diseases that affect the essence of the soul. So that's just the only paragraph that's available on eggs in this book. That's why I had to add in all the extra, just to give you a complete picture of the details about eggs. Now, if you have any questions, we can just go to it quickly in the chat session and then we can end the session. Okay, so the sister has mentioned, I think that eggs are bad for cholesterol. So again, we just did a little bit of details of that. If you missed it, you can go back to the recording. And I think I also posted a few screenshots. I'll post it again for you, so you can read that. Let me see where it is. Oh, I missed it. Just a second. I'm trying to put the page about cholesterol here so that whoever has... Where did it go? You can pause the recording because I don't want the recording to get too long. So you can just pause it till I find the page for the sister and put it up on the screen. Okay, here it is. I don't know why it's not coming on the screen. Just a minute. I think I need to delete this. Okay, just a minute. I got it. So I'm just going to go through all the pics and find the page. Okay, there it is. So if you have any questions regarding cholesterol, you can store this page. And if you're done with this screenshot, you can take a screenshot of this page. And there was one more I'm looking for in the end. If you just refer to the lecture, the audio, you can just go through, because I think the sister also puts up the slides while making the YouTube video. So you can just refer to that. And all the pages are posted there. And just in case you missed and if you won't get time, this is what it is. If you cook your egg yolk, then that's when it oxidizes the cholesterol, and that is dangerous for your heart, or it causes hardening of the arteries and stuff like that. That is when we cook it too much and have it. Whereas if you're having a soft boiled egg, or if you're poaching your egg, or if you're having it raw, then there's absolutely no danger, because as I mentioned, why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create something which was harmful for us, right? So if you're having too much of something, or you're not having it in the right way, that's when it becomes bad for our health. Do eggs take more time to digest? No, if I've never read of anything of that type where it's difficult to digest. So yes, if it's a kid which is not used to it, if it's a newborn, like 6 months to 1 year, then maybe you can be slow with it. They say you can still give a runny yolk if you're sure of if you read the book Western Price. By Western Price, he mentions about introducing the egg yolk, not the white, because the white becomes difficult to digest for babies, but the egg yolk can be done from 8 months or 6 months onwards if you're choosing good quality eggs. Any more questions? Yeah, it's one of the best foods to digest, so there's no digestion issues when it comes to eggs. And again, this is the best form of protein. So if you're lacking in protein, if you have a lot of hair fall, if you have skin issues, if you have muscle issue, like if you want to build muscle, you want to grow healthy kids, then this is the best food you can inculcate on a daily basis. And you can have 2 eggs a day is more than enough. Any more questions? Okay, so if there are any more questions, you can send them on the messenger chat and we will continue there, inshallah. I can post the screenshots. If you missed any pages, I can put the pictures of the pages on the... And regarding the recipes, the ones that I mentioned, if I get them in the written form, inshallah, I will post those too, so that I think the people who missed will also benefit from it. So I'll just write it down and post it up on the screen in your Facebook Messenger, inshallah. Okay, so we'll end here. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.